when we don't know who we are, oftentimes our identity is about being liked. Like, I want this person to like me. I want that person to like me. I want to fit in. And then, Tyler, just think about all the dumb things you've done because you wanted somebody to like you.
A lot.
A lot. Right? Could have been, I mean, all the stupid things boys do. But there's so many things that are really like destructive. But if I just knew who I was, man, just how much better I would have treated people. Just how much better, like I would have been focused, like I mean, because I was pretty good, but man, I did a lot of things that did not propel my career forward because I was trying to be liked, trying to fit in. But if I knew who I was and I just lived that, who knows athletically what could have happened.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. I am your host and coach, Tyler Johnson. And whether you've tuned in to elevate your mindset, your game, or just your day, you are in the right place. My guest this episode is an author, speaker, a coach, and founder of Inner Strengths. We met a few weeks back at a speaking engagement and was excited to get him on the podcast. Please welcome to the Elev8 podcast, Brandon Buck. Welcome. How are you?
Oh man, Tyler, doing awesome, brother. Love to be here, man. Excited to be a part of this thing.
Excited to have you. It's great getting to cross paths several weeks ago here in Colorado. Was excited to have you on the podcast since. I think one of those things we were just talking about before, kind of creating vulnerability in space I want to get into. But for the people that are maybe less familiar with you, I'd love you to just kind of take us a little bit from, your experience from being a college athlete to Infinite Strengths to now there's some new news. You're also getting back into coaching a bit.
Getting back into it, man, but would love to. So I grew up in Southern Indiana, was fortunate enough to go and play baseball at Purdue University. Loved my time there. Was very fortunate as well because my freshman year was my oldest brother's redshirt senior year. And so to get to play college athletics with your brother, like he pitched, I caught, so I grew up catching him the whole time, but he was always 4 years in front of me. So we never got to go to school together. But because he had gotten redshirted one year, we just had that special moment. And we've always been close, but to just be able to have that, it's a separator. It's super special. Something we hold really dear. And then when I graduated in 2001, I moved to Arizona. Went down there to become an educator, to teach and coach. I coached football, coached baseball, was the head guy down in Arizona for 15 years. When I was there, really, I don't know if you've ever read the book Season of Life.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Phenomenal book. And I read that book about my third or fourth year teaching and coaching and realized like this is the purpose. Like the purpose of my life or to be a coach is to help people to become morally, and I coach boys, so to help them become morally sound men. And that book impacted how I taught, how I coached, how I parent, all of it, so that it was fully aligned in like values and who I was as a person and how I'm going to be all of the time. And it just gave a lot of consistency for us to behave. And Tyler, what was awesome is once that became the standard and I lived that standard, I never had issues. Never had parent issues, never had issues. There might be the parent that wants their kid to play more or questions why I did this on the field and not that. Like, I'm good with that, but we never had any parent issues. And when you don't have parent issues and you have every boy really striving to become a better person, the year is special.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awesome. So with that, I ended up getting my master's in educational leadership. As I said, that's how I taught in my classes. That's how my lessons went. And I just began thinking, like, if we could do more of this, this is what me as a teacher, this is what I need. And so as I was ending my tenure coaching down there, my wife and I, we joined a direct selling company and something I told I would never do, but I did. And we went to a training down in Texas. And I got to hear these two guys get up on stage, a guy named Eric Wall and another guy named Walter Bond, both motivational speakers. And they just blew me away. And I was already on this leadership path. And then saw these guys speak, and I'm like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And got back home. I've been the head coach for 11 years. When I first started at the age of 26, being the head coach, I'd asked two mentors, a guy that had been coaching high school football for 40 years, a guy who coached baseball for 30 years. And I just asked them what they would do different. And
Mm,
both of them in a heartbeat said they wish they would have stopped coaching when their kids were young.
mm,
And I said, why? And they go, because they coached everybody else's kids and they missed theirs grow up. So I'm like,
mm.
okay. So I hung on to that little piece of wisdom. Then I coached for 11 years. At that point, my oldest daughter was in the second grade. I had missed something kind of small in the first grade, missed a couple things in the second grade. I'm okay. This is what they're talking about. I'm done. So hung them up. When that happened, we had always talked about living in Boise. This is where my wife went to college. So we moved from Arizona, didn't have a job, didn't have anything, just take the chance. And we knew the worst thing would happen when we moved back to Arizona. And that's when I really started down this path of leadership development, even though I had no idea what that meant. Started working for as a consultant with a different company, and it was good in the essence. It got me out of the classroom and got me going there, but I really learned I could do all this on my own. Like I've been doing this for 15 years. I've been a
Yeah.
teacher. Like I can teach this stuff. I love it. It's me. So then I started Infinite Strengths about 6.5 years ago. And Tyler, it's just continued to grow, man. It
Yeah.
blows me away of who I get to work with and who I get to impact and learning and improving. And it's something that I strive to become a better father, a better husband, a better leader every single day. And now that my kids are older, my oldest is 17. I got a 15-year-old daughter, 13-year-old son. I've been able to be with them the whole time that they're growing up. Now my two daughters, they're both driving and they've got their sports. I never see them.
Yeah.
I decided to get back into coaching. And so 2 days, actually yesterday, I was officially named the new head baseball coach at Timberline High School here in Boise, Idaho, and so thankful. Can't
Cool.
wait. Have our first parent meeting tonight. I mean,
All
it's
right.
Tyler, it's rolling, man.
There
And
you
so I
go.
can't wait to take what I've been acquiring over the last 9 years, on top of all the other coaching that I've done in my past, to bring in and really build something special.
Yeah. Lucky group of kids. They don't know what's coming.
I
Um,
appreciate it.
the love the season of life reference. Big Joe Ehrman fan. I think he's played a little piece in getting me in to do the things I do as well. Um, when you said kind of there's a part in there, it kind of puts you on the spot, a little vulnerability. But you said kind of some things that you when you started living it,
Yep.
and kind of I always think of that kind of that alignment in our lives. Can you share maybe one or two of those things that really for you that transformed you, that allowed you to transform the things that were going on?
Yeah. I'd had my going into my fourth year, I had some pretty tough parent issues at that point. Setback, I mean, and it was bad, really bad. Setback after that, and I began to reflect on myself, knowing that if I didn't figure something out, I'm not coaching very much longer. And in that reflection, Tyler, I realized I was this great chameleon. I could be whomever I needed to be. Put me in a classroom, I'll be the best teacher, the best student. Put me on a baseball field, I'll be the hardest worker, the most disciplined.
Yeah.
Put me in a church, I'll be the most faithful. Put me on a Friday, Saturday night, I'll be the biggest idiot in the room. And I realized when there's no consistency, man, there's no trust. And if there's no trust, you don't have an edge, you don't have a culture, you don't have any of it. And so as I'm going through this reflection, my wife and I, we had our oldest daughter, and we're trying to figure out, well, what is it that we want for her or for all of our kids? And we knew we wanted them to grow to become morally sound adults. And so then it caused my wife and I to really sit down and figure out, well, what does it mean to be a morally sound adult? And so we're going through all these values and we're looking at mentors and what values and characteristics we like of them. And we settle it down onto six. And our six values are faith, integrity, courage, persistence, responsibility, and action. And we believe that if we are being that person, then we're being a morally sound person. So then I need to figure out, well, what did that mean? Like saying I'm a person of faith sounds cool, but what the heck is that? Or I'm a person of integrity, what is it? So then we define them and we put them all into verbs and actions. So faith is you treat people the way they want to be treated. Integrity is you do the right thing regardless who's watching. Courage is you attack your fears. Persistence is you don't quit. Responsibility is you own it, it's on you. And action is you do it. Do what you say you're going to do. Now, Tyler, I could live that.
Yeah.
And I really focused on living that all of the time. I was no longer this chameleon. It was, you're going to see the same person no matter where I'm at. Church, with my wife, with my friends, by myself, winning, losing, bad umpire, good umpire. It didn't matter. You were going to see the same person. And once kids and parents know what they're going to get, man, there's no guessing.
Yeah.
And they see that this person's real. And Tyler, you know from your experience, so many people will talk it that they'll put these values up on a wall, but then they don't live it. And so, especially in our profession, I have to.
Yeah.
Right? Not that everybody does it. I think everybody has to, but in my profession, I'm going to challenge you. Like I better, or I'm a fraud.
Yeah, well, I think you probably agree in coaching, it's hard to teach a bunch of things you don't do,
Yep.
especially when it comes to, the non-physical side. Well, thank you for sharing that. I think that, how do we get alignment? I love that it's got this value-driven thing. I remember doing a football workshop at a clinic, and I asked how many coaches had values for their program. Every hand went up, and then I
Yep.
asked, how many can share what those are with this room right now, and only about 4 out of 100 hands remained up.
Yep.
And I think, I really, can you talk a little bit more? I think we have these values, and sometimes our teams, we look at them, they make a nice t-shirt or some nice posters, but can you talk about really how you need to create a shared definition in your environment around what those are, and then how you're going to hold each other to those values?
Really good. So, like the baseball program that we have that I'm getting ready to be a part of. So, there's several coaches that will be with me. I've been coaching youth baseball here for a really long time. Phenomenal men, awesome men. But I could have a definition of integrity. You could have a definition of integrity or
Mhm.
faith or responsibility, and we're teaching great things, but it's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And when it's not the same thing, now you have a confused athlete, you have confused people, you have confused parents. And so there has to be alignment on it. So I sat down with our coaches, there were 5 of us, and I told them to come to the table with what's one characteristic that they see of the most morally sound men that they've ever been around. Them. Like if you could describe a
Mm.
morally sound man, like in your life that you've experienced, what's one trait that you've seen him have? So they all came in with one, and we had 5 awesome ones, really, really good, which are too many. And then people are talking, and they're like, "Hey, we need an acronym, we need this." And what I started noticing, Tyler, is that a lot of guys were mentioning integrity, and a lot of people were mentioning grit or responsibility or toughness.
Hmm.
And so I just sat there. I'm like, "Hey, we want an acronym." And in sports, coaches always reference this thing called the it factor,
Hmm.
right? They always say, and then they would say, "You don't know what it is, but you know it when you see it." Well, that's so dumb. Like if it is so great, then I want to know what it is, and I want athletes with it. I want to teach and coach it because when we have it, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
And so we narrowed down on it, and I is integrity, and T is toughness.
Mhm.
Sounds really cool, but now what is that?
Yeah.
And all of us know, like integrity is you do the right thing regardless who's watching.
Yep.
Integrity is you do the right thing without having to be told. Toughness is no excuses. Toughness is you do it regardless if you want to do it or not.
Yep.
So we've just defined that. So now we as coaches, we know exactly what that needs to look like. We have to make sure we're living it. Our kids can't hear us give an excuse. If I don't want to mow the grass, I've got to go do it. My son has to see me do that.
Yeah.
If there's a really bad umpire or whatnot, or a parent that's this or whatever, how do I behave? How am I acting? My son's got to see how I'm interacting with his mom and his sisters and all of those things. And once they see me doing it, I've now earned the right to hold them accountable to
Yeah.
it. And I think when we live it, we earn the right to hold people accountable. The definition, though, is how you teach it.
Yeah. And let's jump back to teaching. You spent some years in the classroom.
Yeah.
Uh, is there one or two things as you reflect back on your teaching experience that are always evident when you bring to life as a coach?
Yes. When I first got into coaching, I wanted to tell everybody how to do things.
Hmm.
I was fortunate enough, I played baseball at a pretty high level.
Yeah.
So I thought, why everybody should just hit, throw, and catch like me, like it works. So I focused on making everybody hit, throw, and catch like me. Well, then in a game, Tyler, they were more concerned with doing that than getting the guy out.
Hmm.
And so through that, all I did is create robots. And so the teaching, what it really caused me to do is I really had to understand the game and understand the mechanics of it, and then be able to watch how you play the game and then help you play the game your way as good as you can.
Sure.
Right? Like not my way, but you're like, there's certain fundamental things that you have to be able to do right. Once you have those, brother, I'm gonna let you roll it. And if you want to field it barehanded, Tyler, go get it.
Yeah.
as long as you do it consistently, you don't make mistakes, go have fun. Now, if you make mistakes, we're going to go another way. And it's like, once I realized that it was about me teaching you how to play your game the best, man, my kids became athletes. They were free. They were free to go make mistakes or free to do it however. And then we had guys that, I mean, literally, they would just field it barehanded or behind their back or between their legs because they just had fun. And I can't teach that. I'm not that good. They are.
I like that. Um, when I saw you speak and share with coaches, one of the things I wanted to touch on as well is you talked about kind of the three important, kind of things to help develop trust with athletes. And I think
Yep.
especially when it comes to young people, if you, I always, the saying always comes to me, you can push and challenge a kid as far as they trust you. And
Yep.
that's going to create our limits more than anything. Uh, can you talk about how those three steps to trust, and then kind of we'll move over to kind of how you juxtapose them and share about how you really have real influence on young
Yeah.
people?
Um, Trust, once again, awesome. We have to have it. And just like with defining values, very few of us have ever defined what trust is. And if I don't know what it is, then I really don't know what I need to do in order to build it. And I
Mhm.
believe trust comes down to three things. Number one is your intent. So I'm having my first parent meeting with these kids tonight.
Yeah.
Every one of them are wondering about my intent. Where are we going? What's the vision? Like what's this guy's purpose?
Hmm.
And if I don't share that very well, it won't work. At the same time, if my intent, it's okay to have some selfish reasons. I have selfish reasons to do this job. One, I love it. But two, man, I've got youngsters coming up, man, like an opportunity as a dad to be able to coach his son through high school. I mean, that's a freaking dream come true. That's not the main reason I'm getting this job or I took it. Right? I'm doing it because what I know these kids need and deserve and the opportunity that's there is in front of them. So it's okay to have selfish desires. They just can't trump your selfless ones.
Mm.
And when we look at intent, I believe almost all of us have good intent. There's sometimes we don't, but most of us have great intentions. The problem is that our actions don't back it up. So I can tell you I'm selfless, but unless my actions back it up, Tyler, it doesn't matter. They have to see it. And how many companies have you worked with where they'll say employees are the most important people, most important thing, most important commodity we have, resource we have are our people. And the first sign of economic problems, who's the first to go, right?
Voice.
We just showed them that you're not.
Yeah.
And so it's me telling them, but then they're going to have to see me back it up with my actions. Have to. And then the third part with that comes into performance. I've got like as a coach, I have to help them perform. If I
Sure.
can't, they won't. Like I could have the first two. I could be the most selfless person in the world and back it up with my actions. But unless I can help them get better, they won't trust me. They can like me, they won't trust me.
Right. Yep.
Right? If I have that last one, if I can perform, but I don't have the first two, well, now I'm a high performing jerk and I have a toxic culture.
Yeah.
And people will show up and then they'll want to bounce. So I think it's looking at those three things and understanding that we're doing those three things every day with every single person we interact with.
Yeah.
Right? Like you and I, dude, we were set and supposed to talk earlier this week, and I brain farted and screwed it up. I didn't do what I said. You'll give me grace once. If I do it again, all of a sudden you're like, dude, who is this guy, man? Like, you
Yeah.
freaking kidding me?
Yeah, you're a baseball guy. I give you at least a
Right?
third strike,
Right? Give me a couple. Give me a
At least
couple.
a third.
But so it's that thing, right? Like you have to know like what we're doing. And I mean, I'll be darned if I was going to miss today. I had like 3 reminders set up for today because I knew I'd missed that one for you. So it's this piece that we are doing these 3 things with every single person we interact with. With my wife, we've almost been married 19 years. I'm either building trust or hurting trust. And I've got to know what I just did, or I'm going to continue to break trust.
Can you, on that note, can you talk about how when inevitably when we're in sports, emotions, all the things that collide in an experience, we're going to have things that challenge trust, or maybe our trust gets questioned.
Yeah.
Can you talk about ways that I think, we either see it spiral into something that gets harder to repair, or how can we go address it as coaches. Sometimes we have that coaches have that hesitation because they're fearful of what happens, and then what they're fearful exactly happens because they didn't address it.
Right.
So can you talk about addressing when we have those kind of issues or fractures of how do we repair?
Yeah. If you've made the mistake, own it.
Mm.
Just own it. Flat out. Like, I'm not going to give you an excuse or a reason. I'm just going to tell you, like, dude, I suck. And I'm pretty sure if I didn't, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's just how I handled the whole situation. Like, dude, I sucked. Like, freaking, I told you. Then I didn't move the calendar and I just freaking missed it. Like, it's on. Like, I'm just going to own it. And when our players see me own a mistake, it invites them to own theirs.
Yep. Big time.
Like, if you've messed up, Tyler, all I want you to do as your coach or leader, I just want you to own it. The problem is you might not have ever seen it before.
Sure.
And when I can demonstrate that to you, chances are you're going to start owning it right then.
Yeah.
Now, to do that as a coach, it takes a very confident person to stand in front of their team, to stand in front of parents, to stand in front of community and say, like, I screwed up.
Yeah.
If we don't do that, we're breaking, like, no one's going to trust us because they all knew you screwed up. They all know it. And then I'm going to give someone an excuse and be like, and then I'm going to try to hold you accountable, not give an excuse, and it doesn't work. So I think that that's one way that we have to go and repair is just that. I think the other thing as coaches is, especially in football, you're in the heat of the battle, heat of the moment. And so a lot of pleasantries are going to go out the window because we don't have the time.
Okay.
So I'm going to be very direct, very blunt, and maybe not very nice on it. You'll give me the benefit of the doubt for moments like that. I can't continue to do it at practice and everything else. Like,
Yeah.
that's the fire, let it be the fire. But not everything deserves like that amount of intensity or screaming and yelling and those types of things.
Yeah, definitely. Uh, when you talked about influence,
Yep.
let's talk a little bit about how maybe how trust and influence differ and then also how they align.
Yeah. Um, I think there's a lot of different things because like you could be a great person and I could trust you that you're going to do what you say, but I'm not going to listen to you. I'm not going to follow you. Like, I trust you, but I'm not going to follow you where you're going. So the influence part is like, man, I'm going to follow you because you have influence, you have experience, you have all these things. And I look at influence that there's three levels. And I think the easiest way to do it is just to describe what they are. There's a level where people follow you because they have to. So like today, when I go into this meeting, people are showing up because they have to. Like, I'm the coach.
Yep.
It just is what it is. And it's not a bad thing. That's the amount of influence I have. Now what do I do with it? Because my goal is to get them to that next level where they need to follow me. One, they're going to follow me because they have to. My job is to move them into one where they need to. And to move within these levels of influence, that's where trust comes into play. That's like the mortar or the mold, right, that allows us to move from level to level. And so to move from the have to level to the need to level, it comes down to performance. My ability to help them perform. It's the quickest way to do it. Now, within performance, I believe there's three things that people look for. Today, when I get over here, they were going to check to see if I'm organized.
Mm-hmm.
If I've got my papers right here, right? All kinds of stuff. Got my agenda. If there's misspellings, what do they begin to think, Tyler?
Yeah, not detail oriented, maybe missing some details.
Look, I just got seriously like all those things. If I don't start on time, like really? And by the way, we're doing it at 5 o'clock on Friday. So let's just chalk that up. There's going to
Right.
be people coming in there because they freaking have to. They're already pissed. And now if I'm not organized and starting right on the dot and my things aren't all like pristine, it just begins to put doubt in their mind. And once I'm not organized, now I could remain a physical leader or that bottom level leader forever. And it's okay to start at that bottom level. The problem is if you stay there. If you stay there, people will be compliant. They'll do the bare minimum, and these people would be respectful, but so they're done, right? They're just going to do it. So I've got to be organized. I have to know what I'm talking about. If I don't know what I'm talking about, I can't speak. So there's all kinds of things I'm learning about rules and how I can interact with kids and the number of times and all of these things. And there's changes that we could do with freshman baseball and junior high baseball. I can't go in there and just rattle stuff off because I'm not talked to the key people yet to make sure it's rule. So if I go in there and I say, hey, this is what we're going to do, and then in another month I'm saying, oh, no, we're not, they're like, they begin to doubt it. Okay. So I've got to be organized. I got to know what I'm talking about, and I have to bring value. Value is back to me helping them get better. If I do those three things tonight and I do them really well, I bet half that room jumps to the middle or to that need level really, really quick.
Yep.
They'll be like, okay, this is different.
Yep.
Okay. Once we get to the need level, the third level is where people follow because they want to follow you. And there's a huge difference from having to follow someone to needing to follow someone to wanting to follow someone. To get to that want, it takes both you and I wanting to get there.
Sure.
Right? I could do everything right. Tyler, you just don't want to have that type of relationship with me. Nothing I can do.
Yep.
At the same time, to get to the want, it takes time. Like we're going to have to spend time together. You're going to have to see how I interact with my wife off the field, when things are good, when they're bad. You just got to see, is this guy for real? And so to go from the need to the want, it comes down to the first two parts of trust, your selflessness and your actions.
Yeah.
You're going to check that all the time. How did I behave at the football game last night? Did I show up with alcohol in my breath? How did I, how am I acting over here? Or maybe I'm tailgating at a Boise State football game. They're watching all of it. And there has to be consistency there or no one will go to that last level. Okay. So it takes time to get there. Now, we all know the power and the influence that can come when people want to follow you. But what I find, Tyler, is people try to rush this process too much.
Yeah.
Especially coaches. Man, I want these guys to want to follow me. I'm going to jump from here to there. If you skip steps, if you skip that middle step, you'll freak your people out.
Yeah. I think the phrase that kind of burns my ears sometimes is when I almost hear a coach beg for buy-in.
Yeah.
And it's like, you want trust and commitment, like, and they need time, just like you said. What are you selling?
Yeah.
And then I'll buy in.
Right.
But they're going to shop a little bit if you're just trying to, ask for it too quick. And so I love how you talked about that. You talked about I had a teammate, high school and college, I had this similar opportunity as you and your brother at college. Awesome experience to get to play with a sibling. Was there a coach in your journey that really kind of stood out or had a greater impact on you?
Yeah. My high school U.S. history teacher, freshman football coach.
Tell me.
Yeah, his name is Jeff Callahan. Taught me in U.S. history, coached me in freshman football. Just an awesome, amazing human being. Spoke life into me. A guy, I got to watch how he treated his wife and all of his passion that he came with. And it didn't matter where you were at, he was the same guy. And Tyler, you look at his life and you look at mine, it's almost identical.
It's cool.
He played college baseball. I played college baseball. He taught U.S. history. I taught U.S. history. He coached freshman football. So did I. He coached varsity baseball. So did I. He's got 3 kids. So do I. I've got my leadership summit that I'm hosting out here next week.
Yeah.
He's flying from Bedford, Indiana, Southern Indiana, all the way to Boise to come and support me. And so pretty magical. 30 some years later, this guy's still coming to support me in this next endeavor that I'm doing.
Love it. You mentioned, you've got your leadership thing coming up here. You've also got a new book, right?
Yep.
Distracted by Success. Tell us a little bit about the book and what's it all about.
Yeah, I think success is something that we all want, and very few of us even know what it is. And we get so distracted by this passion for success that we'll just run whatever road's in front of us. And you might run that path for title, for fame, for money, and you'll get it, but then you're like the only one that's on the road. And you realize that it's not it. So it's really breaking down and challenging people to understand what success really means to you and that it's fully within your control. So I don't believe that success is something that you can achieve. I believe it's something you are, like either you are a success or you're not. And so that just reminds me, it's every single, like I'm still chasing it. Like I chase it every moment of the day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't cause me to sacrifice the most important things in my life. Yeah. My wife, my kids, my relationships, my health. I'm going to run that like this. I'm going to run this thing, but it's not going to sacrifice this or the kids or those types of things. So it's building that plan so you know exactly what it is, Tyler, and then it doesn't matter. Then it's a plug and play system and you run it.
We'll have Brandon's website and the book linked up in the show notes so you can find that. You spend a lot of time, like myself, around high school, college student athletes, especially when it comes to performance. What are some of the maybe mental or leadership skills that you see young people hungry to, once you maybe present them or share them or kind of drop some knowledge on them, that they're hungry to absorb and pull into their life?
Uh, you go ask anyone to define success and just wait. Just sit back. Tell them to do it. I would wager 90+% of a college athlete, they've never done it.
Yeah.
They have this image of success of what somebody else has told them, or maybe what it is, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
That one is going to get them, because once you have them start to reflect on that and really wrap around what success really means, that's within their control, it like frees them up to go play instead of like chasing this ideal. Have you ever read the book The Gap in the Gain?
I have not. I've heard of it.
Super good.
Gap in the game. All right.
Gap in the Gain, like super good. And I'll give you a quick like summation of it. There's the start line and then the ideal. Okay. But in the middle, there's achievement. And where we measure ourselves is we measure ourselves from achievement to the ideal. And when we do that, we're in the gap. That's where we're never satisfied, we're never happy, we're failures and everything else. But if we measure ourselves in the gain from the start to achievement, we can sit back and we can see how far we came.
Yeah.
Right? Happiness is there, fulfillment's there. It doesn't mean we're not chasing the ideal. But in the book, what I love how he references that chasing the ideal is like chasing the horizon. I can see it, and I can go towards it, but you never get there. Like achievements go on, the ideal continues to raise, but we spend so much time measuring ourselves in the gap that it's awful, right? Like if I measure my kids against the ideal, they never live up to it. I'm frustrated, I'm mad, but if I see how far they've come, it's amazing, right? If my wife, she loves to measure me in the gap, Tyler, like that sucks. If she were just measuring me from the gain, from where I started to how much I've improved as a husband, man, she'd be so happy and so would I, right? So it's that part of how we look. So I think things like that with like defining success, they don't know, it frees them. I think like giving them images of really where they can measure the gain instead of the gap. And then I think the last one is just them figuring out who they are as people.
Yeah.
Because most athletes, I know you've seen it, they don't know. They're a football player, I'm a golfer, I'm a dancer, and then that identity ends and they're a train wreck.
Yeah, definitely. Great, great advice. One of the questions we always like to close out with was if I get you one of the DeLorean time machines and send you back to teenage Brandon on an old ball field, and you had a moment to whisper a little bit of advice to yourself as a teenager with all the experience you have in coaching and things you do now with leadership, what's something you would want to go back and remind yourself?
Oh man, know who I am.
Tell me more.
Yeah, like down to my values. I told you earlier, like being like living them, knowing them. I know it when I was a kid, like junior high kids and high school kids are just mean. They're just mean.
Yeah, it's a tough time.
And when we don't know who we are, oftentimes our identity is about being liked.
Yeah.
Like I want this person to like me, I want that person to like me, I want to fit in. And then Tyler, just think about all the dumb things you've done because you wanted somebody to like you.
A lot.
A lot. Right. Could have been, I mean, all the stupid things boys do. But there's so many things that are really like destructive. But if I just knew who I was, man, just how much better I would have treated people. Just how much better, like I would have been focused, like I mean, because I was pretty good, but man, I did a lot of things that did not propel my career forward because I was trying to be liked, trying to fit in. But if I knew who I was and I just lived that, who knows athletically what could have happened? Most likely, it wouldn't have ended up me playing any higher. But what I did sure as heck prevented me from going forward. Right. So I think the identity piece is so hard. And I think even more so now because of cell phones and people comparing themselves to online and everything else, that these kids just want likes so much. So they're more likely to do things that can really be destructive. So if I could go back, it would be to know who I was as a person and live that all the time, and how you treat people and who you surround yourself with and how you behave and everything else.